Hey guys, thought we'd do a little bit of a different video here. You know, sometimes I do some videos outside of the realm of computers. You know, some movie stuff, old movie technology and different kind of media platforms and video game consoles sometimes and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to take a little break from computer stuff just for right now. And I want to go over with you guys 5 movies that I have that you can't get on DVD or Blu-ray. Now, that number is always shrinking. There's always putting out movies that previously you couldn't get before on, especially Blu-ray now, but even still DVD. DVD's still doing pretty good. But there's still a couple holdout movies that you can't get on DVD or Blu-ray. So we're going to look at 5 of those today. So specifically in the like horror science fiction genre. So that's 2 of my favorite genres right there. So yeah, there are a couple other lists out there. I tried to pick a couple movies that I didn't see on any of those other lists, and I also have a movie that is on those lists, but I find some of those lists to be a little erroneous. They seem to totally disregard the existence of Laserdisc and Betamax. Usually it's, you know, movies only found on VHS, but they're really not only on VHS because either the author doesn't care or is completely ignorant of other older formats like Betamax and Laserdisc. But we are going to take that into consideration with today's video. So let's start off with the most obvious, number 1. So the number 1 movie is, of course, The Keep. Now, The Keep is kind of one of the last sort of bigger name holdouts that's only available on the best version on Laserdisc. But you can also get this on VHS, probably Betamax too, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, this is one of the last sort of high-profile movies that you can't get on DVD or Blu-ray. And honestly, it might stay that way. I don't know all the details on why this is never released on DVD or Blu-ray, but I know some of it has to do with the soundtrack, Tangerine Dream soundtrack. Tangerine Dream, you hear them a lot. They pop up a lot. They they did a lot of like 80s movie soundtracks. They did like Legend and a bunch of other ones. But yeah, there's some kind of rights dispute. So you know, the original score is an issue, but also I believe the director kind of does not like this movie. And whoever holds the rights just does not want to allow it to be produced on DVD and Blu-ray. I think they just kind of prefer that we forget about this movie. So that's a big reason why it hasn't been re-released. Now, a couple of years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, I don't know, I don't think it's still on there, but this was available to stream on Netflix at one point. But again, we are just looking at home formats. Also keep in mind that you may go on eBay and look and find these things on DVD, but they're going to be bootlegs. Unless I am incorrect, which is a possibility, a lot of times people just make bootlegs and they'll burn them on a DVD, but the quality is not going to be any better than whatever, like Laserdisc. They would just take a Laserdisc, digitize it, or make a digital copy and burn it onto a DVD. Unless they found some way to capture the stream from Netflix when it was available on Netflix, but either way it wouldn't be official. So yeah, that's The Keep. The Keep is an interesting movie. I wouldn't say it's a good movie, but it is interesting. It's kind of a gothic horror, a lot of atmosphere in this movie. Has to do with, you know, Nazis, of course, delving where they shouldn't delve in this pyramid, I think in Romania. It's been a while since I've seen this movie. I think it's an okay movie. It's not really a good movie in my opinion, but it has a lot of atmosphere. So this is the widescreen edition. I believe this is the only way to get the widescreen edition. This isn't a rare movie. People say, oh, The Keep, it's really rare. It's not. The widescreen edition, I would say, is kind of uncommon, but at any given time, I can at least find the full screen version on like eBay. So yeah, The Keep, it's kind of like one of those movies, if you're a Laserdisc collector, it's like you've got to have it just because it's one of those last sort of well-known movies that never made the jump to DVD or Blu-ray. So yeah, this doesn't go for too much, maybe between 40 and 60 on eBay. Look at the higher end if you're looking for the widescreen edition, but you can probably find it for cheaper if you really look. So yeah, The Keep, I wanted to get the most obvious one out of the way first. Alright, so now we're going to move on to movie number 2, Blue Monkey. You'll see this too on a lot of those like only on VHS like articles online. This was also released on Betamax. I do not have the Betamax version. This should be the same, even quality wise, really. So yeah, this is Blue Monkey. I actually haven't seen this movie yet. I haven't watched it, so I can't really comment on it. This used to be a blockbuster, apparently. Originally, I think this just came in a regular sort of the cardboard box. This is a clamshell, but I think this was just how they put it in when it was for rent. Like I said, I made the thing here. Originally this was called Green Monkey, but then they changed it to Blue Monkey, which has nothing to do with the movie, because apparently this movie is about a giant insect creature terrorizing a hospital. So yeah, not much else to say about it. I believe this falls into like the horror genre. It's supposed to be a little bit more horror-y than science fiction. So yeah, Blue Monkey. This never made the jump to DVD or Blu-ray. So yeah, I wish I had more to say. I should have watched this probably before I did this video, but I'm kind of saving it for closer to Halloween. I have a lot of movies that I haven't watched because I'm just kind of waiting. I like to do like Halloween marathons, so this is kind of a more Halloween thing. But yeah, like I said, I don't know much about the storyline. I think it's a guy that gets pricked by a flower, and he goes to the hospital, and he pukes up a pupa that turns into a bug. This movie also goes by the name Insect, which is a little bit more appropriate, but a little bit more boring. But yeah, Blue Monkey. I thought I'd get the other obvious one. This is not like an unknown movie. This is one of the first movies, I think, when you put in like, you know, movies that are only on VHS, you'll always see this movie on those lists. So, not too much here to show. VHS, ooh, it's in hi-fi. That's something. So, Blue Monkey. Monkey. All right, so let's move on to our next movie. Put that back. Now the next movie here is another movie that does show up on those lists. I kind of mentioned it earlier, but this is one of those movies they always disregard the Laserdisc version. It always comes up as this movie is only on VHS, which is incorrect. It's also sort of incorrect that it's not on DVD too, so we'll talk about that. So that movie is The Brain. The Brain, Mind Over Matter. So this is another movie I actually haven't watched yet. I am saving it for when it gets closer to Halloween time. But basically the plot of this movie is this alien brain creature is like captured by scientists, and they're using it to mind control people through a television show. And, you know, it's one of those like 80s science fiction horror movies. You know, someone is either immune to its powers or figures it out, and they go and try to kill it, or, you know, it's not like, oh, we have to rescue it like E.T. or something, or the movie I'm going to show next. But, yeah, I think it just kills people. Maybe it escapes and starts killing people. I'm really want to watch this movie so bad, but I'm holding out till closer to Halloween. I've never seen it before. So yeah, this is one that a lot of on those lists, it was only released on VHS. Obviously that's not true. This is the Laserdisc version of it. Now, it's sort of, I hate to use the word rare. I wouldn't call this movie rare, but it is a little bit pricey. Especially for the Laserdisc. You can get it as low as like 30 or 40, but I've seen this listed for like 90 or 100, just people shooting for the moon. Because the Laserdisc version isn't super common, but... okay, now what I was talking about earlier, I do not know if this had a Betamax release. I'm guessing it did, but I don't know for sure. Now, the thing is, this movie actually did come out on DVD. The thing is, it only came out, I believe, in Europe, and I know the UK got a release. So if you have a region-free DVD player, or, you know, I think there's computer app programs that you can put it in your computer if you have an optical drive on your PC, and it will let you watch like PAL DVDs or region block DVDs on your computer. So it's not really that much of an issue if you want to import it. I'm not really a huge fan of the cover art on the European DVD release. It looks kind of, cheesy, if you ask me. It's kind of like a town with the brain is sort of hovering over it. I know it could be cool, but I do kind of prefer this, the original sort of minimalistic art here, cover art. I believe this movie came out in '89, so it's the late '80s. Look at that. Glorious. I can't wait to watch this movie. But yeah, just kind of a cheesy movie. But yeah, this did come out on Laserdisc, and it actually did come out on DVD, just not in North America. So I guess those lists are sort of correct if you're just talking about North America. Alright, so now I want to move on to two movies that are not ever talked about, and I've never seen them on any kind of list. But as far as I know, and I did research these a good bit, neither of these next two movies came out for DVD and Blu-ray. So, first one I want to talk about of these two is Wavelength. Now, Wavelength, I have seen this movie, and it is a interesting science fiction movie. It's basically about aliens that are captured and they escape. It's always like has the same sentiments as E.T. It's not really like E.T. because it's a lot more adult. People die in this movie. It's more adult oriented than E.T. So I don't know about that, but it is kind of that whole aliens and they're captured by the government, and you know, this guy who's like a rock singer and his girlfriend sort of rescue them. This cover art's glorious. Now, yeah, this is a movie that if you want the best form of it at home, it's Laserdisc. It came out on Laserdisc and VHS. I don't know about Betamax, but this has yet, as of 2018, April of 2018, this movie, as the others, has not made the jump to DVD or Blu-ray. I do not know the story behind why on this one, but yeah, this cover art is glorious. For some reason, this cover art reminds me of like an 80s Megadeth album. I don't know why. Maybe it's because the alien in the chamber. It sort of reminds me of a fusion between Rust in Peace and Peace Sells But Who's Buying. I think it's been so long. I think that's the name of the album. But it has the color of one and the kind of the imagery of the other. It's just every time I see this, I think I'm like a Megadeth album cover. But yeah, 2 weeks ago they landed on Earth. Today, beneath a major American city, the experiments began. Now, first of all, I understand hiding in plain sight, but a secret base under a major American city or under any major city doesn't sound like a great idea. And in this movie, it's funny because it's an Air Force base, but I've never seen. Usually, when you build an Air Force base, you probably want someplace to land some kind of aircraft, but the Air Force base is like a bungalow in the Hollywood Hills. They kind of explain it, so I can't joke about it too much, but it's just first thing I thought of is like it's like a residential area, and it's like this was an Air Force base. It doesn't make sense, but they explain it. And the alien terror is here on Earth, but I always thought that's weird because it kind of looks like the alien is terrified. The tagline should have been like, "This time we probe them," or something. That's what I get when I see this cover art, but I do love this cover art. So, yeah, this is a pretty good movie. I was pleasantly surprised with this movie. It's pretty good. I wouldn't call it a hidden gem of the 80s, but it is pretty good. I think this came out in 82 or 81, so it is worth a find. Laserdisc version of this is a little bit uncommon. For all I know, it's rare. I just found it on eBay. I think I paid like $14 for it, so... But that's just my experience. I don't really know how much this usually goes for. Unfortunately, this Laserdisc side A has some speckling, a lot of speckling, laser rot on side A. Side B is pretty pristine, so one day maybe I'll find a better copy of this. But yeah, Wavelength, so only on Laserdisc, VHS, and maybe Betamax. Alright. Now I'm going to move on to number 5, and this is the last one, and this is one of my favorite movies, and this movie is never talked about, ever, and that is the timeless classic, She. So, this is Italian 80s Italian post-apocalyptic, and that, if you don't know, is actually sort of its own subgenre. And I am shocked that there's another YouTube channel called Good Bad Flicks, and he loves Italian post-apocalyptic movies. And why he has not covered this, I'm guessing it's because this never came out on Laserdisc, Blu-ray, or DVD. So you're stuck with either VHS or Betamax. So I have both. My VHS copy's kind of messed up, but my Betamax movie is pretty good shape. Yeah, this movie is amazing. Why this isn't more of a cult classic, I don't know. I first seen this movie on, it was USA Up All Night back in the early 90s. And then for years, the movies was in my head, but I couldn't remember what it was called. And then I finally refound it. This was also available for streaming for a while on Netflix. I don't think it is anymore. But it has her. She was Sandel Bergman. I don't know. I'm probably not pronouncing her first name right. But I believe she was in, yeah, she was in Conan the Barbarian. But this movie is a very fun, and it isn't, I said it's Italian. It was like Italian-American co-production. It is in English. So you don't have to worry about that. But this is so underrated. It's just, oh, this movie's great. It's so batshit crazy, weird things. There's like a robot Frankenstein and mummy men and freaking it's a big dude in a tutu and post-apocalyptic like punk warriors. It's just crazy. It's like a communist monks. It's just so bizarre. But it's really fun, and no one ever talks about this movie, like ever. You'd think it would be like a cult classic, because usually these weird over-the-top 80s films like this become cult classics, but no one talks about this. I've never seen it on any kind of list. No one ever brings it up, and that's a shame, because this movie deserves your attention. Now, it doesn't even deserve your attention, it demands your attention. So much to the point that I've actually taken this movie, the Betamax version, and I made a digital copy, and I'm actually considering doing a movie review of this movie because I don't think anyone else has. And even though I know this channel doesn't do movie reviews, I know it's a little outside of the content of this channel, but I really might do that because, God, this movie is awesome. I've worked it up. If you don't like that kind of stuff, if you don't like that campy, like 80s post-apocalyptic stuff, you're not going to like this movie. But if you do, go find a way to watch this movie because it's so, wow, why is this not more of a cult classic? I don't know. I do get the feeling that it's only a matter of time before this does come out on DVD or Blu-ray or both. I don't know why it hasn't, either because no one knows about it or it's a rights issue, but the way like Shout Factory has been like gobbling up rights and then putting out Blu-ray or DVD releases, I think it's only a matter of time. I believe this movie probably has imminent release on some kind of DVD Blu-ray format, and probably from like Shout Factory. I'm almost positive it's just a matter of time. But as of April, beginning of April 2018, you're limited to VHS and Betamax. So I love this movie. It's so corny. So yeah, that is 5 movies that you cannot find on DVD or Blu-ray, with the one sort of exception of The Brain. So I thought this was a fun little quick video to do. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you did enjoy it, let me know in the comments. If you didn't, and you want me to just stick with computer stuff, I can't guarantee I will. I probably won't, but let me know. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be coming back with another video shortly. It probably won't be the review if I even do a review, but I really want to. So I'll see you next time, and thank you for watching. If you like the content, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Your friend seems slightly over-enthusiastic.
My friend's an asshole.